I try to empathize with the sentiment in the world right now. I see so many posts going viral right now about like going back to Africa. Some people going back loving it, some people going back not loving it, complaining about it. Then other Americans leaving to places like Greece and Portugal, which shout out to them. That's pretty amazing for them. I'm happy for them. I think that most places on earth are better than America. But I was trying to empathize and understand the people who are like, I miss America, or America's the best place, or they leave and they're like, America's my home, don't you miss it? And I was trying to empathize with them. And what I did last night after the workday was super, super busy. But I got on the laptop and I was just looking up certain suburban areas in the in the state that I used to live in, Ohio, okay? I was looking up areas that I grew up in. I grew up in Bexley, Ohio. I was looking up areas in Grandview where, we would play volleyball as high schoolers. I looked up, there was a town called Maumee that I never heard of. Y'all heard of Maumee, Maumee? I just looked at these places and, 5 years out, having left America, Ohio to be more specific, and I just feel, as I was looking at everything, looking at where I used to live, looking at cities I used to go to sometimes for sports or whatever, where most people feel like, oh man, I miss that, I want to go back there, it's my favorite place. I felt nothing. I felt a certain level of disdain, to be honest, especially looking at the buildings. It kind of just feels like Belgium or Germany to me, honestly, and it just gives my stomach this disdain, if I'm honest with you. And I just can't lie to you. I can't just do, whatever other people want me to do or say what I think people want me to say. To be honest, the way that I feel when I look at America is just disgusted. I have this disdain for it. I just do. I think it's a spiritual thing. I think it's also an alignment where we have to realize that the Most High, if we allow Him, keyword, that's the caveat, if you allow Him to use you as a vessel in the way that He pleases, He will create certain disdains and certain things that you love that are based after His own will for His people. And then I look at like my neighborhood, it's fantastic. I love my neighborhood over here. There's like trees everywhere, moringa, obviously the pool, but I walk outside, I feel like I'm in a garden when I go back there. I'm thinking about walking out and doing a walk this morning because once it's like 12 p.m., there's like some construction and trucks, so I can't really walk back there if I walk at 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. But yeah, that was just something I was thinking about this morning and last night. Like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to empathize with people that just love it, and I just don't get it. I really don't. I grew up there. I spent the first 24 years of my life there, and I just don't miss it. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't. I have no desire to visit, never a desire to go back. And it reminds me of Europe. I've never been to Europe. I've been looking at like architecture and things like that. And it just like when I was looking at the videos, like, geez, this kind of looks like Europe. It never dawned on me when I lived there. Because, I lived there. I was, I never really traveled much. But now that I'm more well-traveled and understand architecture, I'm like, it literally just looks like, especially if you're going to the suburban areas of Ohio, it definitely looks like a mini Belgium or a mini Germany. And you look at like all the little old shops and parlors, and it just, none of it's black owned, none of it's even indigenous owned, none of it's even black or brown people, either one owning it. This is for my state of Ohio. I'll be specific and speak to specifically Ohio for those out there that are like, la, 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 la. I'm talking about where I come from. Thank you. But yes, and it's just like these boring brick buildings, these boring architectures that look like ancient Rome. Even they were doing like a tour of some of the colleges. I'm like, oh, we used to talk about those colleges in high school, and it's, even in college, they're like, oh, some of these other colleges that are up north by like, Westerville and different parts. And it's just a disdain. I just have no desire, not even like 1% of a desire. It's interesting. It's kind of funny. It's kind of entertaining. I do enjoy like watching some of the neighborhoods when I look at different states in Ohio, or sorry, in America, not different states in Ohio, different states in America. But from my perspective, they're all the same. I don't see, they're all the same, unless it's like you're comparing California to Ohio, but Ohio to Indiana, Indiana to Pittsburgh, Tennessee to Georgia, Georgia to Florida. It's all the same. It's all the same if you ask me. Very boring, very dull, very much just cookie cutter. Very much, it doesn't feel real. Like when I'm here in Mauritius, when I lived in Tanzania, there's just this realness that's like, how do I describe it? I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a feeling that you get. It's a spiritual feeling of just authenticity and realness that exists in Africa. And, you know, I live in a country, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people complain online and just have these like popular, what would be the proper word? They have these popular propaganda lines that they use, like, oh, Africa has no electricity, Africa has no water. And it's like, actually, my electricity and water runs 100% every day. Actually, my Wi-Fi, I pay $7 a month for my internet bill on my phone, $13 for the household Wi-Fi. And I'm a large family. We homeschool, use the Wi-Fi all day. As you can see, we post multiple videos, serve multiple clients. I just don't miss it. And while I don't miss it, I can totally understand African immigrants, okay, from like Nigeria, Ghana, Congo, Tanzania, Kenya, wherever, that will go there and feel like it's a new experience. I totally understand that. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, they always have home to go back to. But for me, as someone that was born in America, I just have no desire at all. I really don't get it where people say it's the best country in the world. I honestly don't. The best in what? Somebody leave a comment down below. But again, my values are different than most Americans also, so that could probably be it. I value children. That's number one. I definitely value children. I value organic relationships and just organic living. Like, as you see, I have oil on my face and that's it. Y'all know I don't wear weave. I'm not super fake. I don't do all that. Like, I'm just not, I don't fit that fake aesthetic. I enjoy, obviously, all the trees and greenery and nature that's out here. That's like the main reason to live on an island or to even live in certain countries in Africa, period, because the greenery is amazing. Like, I can literally take my walk in my neighborhood and feel like I'm walking in a jungle. Literally, it's the most amazing thing. I absolutely love it. And we have our routine down here now. I can get my little matcha. You know, the children love it here. They feel safe. They absolutely love their house. Even the way the houses are built here. Like, even if we go into that, they have nothing on America, nothing on Ohio, nothing. Oh my gosh. And so, you know, I was trying to empathize. I was trying to understand and see, like, okay, well, how people living over there, you know, what was there to miss? I don't get it. I'm sorry. It's not computing in my head what is worth living there. And then you have the high cost of living. For me to live in a house like this, first of all, this wouldn't even exist in Ohio. Let's start there. But let's say I was in California. This wouldn't even exist in Ohio. It wouldn't even be possible, to be quite honest. And if it did, it would be in like Delaware, Ohio, or where I grew up in Bexley. But still, even Bexley, the houses obviously don't have a pool most of the time. Actually, there was this one kid growing up. He had a pool inside his house and we went over his house, but that's not the norm, okay? Like, the pool was actually in his living room. Oh my gosh, those are funny memories. But yes, living like this wouldn't even be possible in Ohio. That's number one. Number two, but let's say I was in Florida or California, where probably living like this is more possible and it more so looks like living like this, because when we were at the mall, they had like these trees on that on the pavement, obviously, that were lined up, and it reminded me of like how people talk about California, how you see like the pictures of California. I'm like, wow, I kind of feel like I'm in California right now. But It's like wonderful luxury California living, minus the racism, minus all of the folks that y'all know, but with black and brown people. And then the luxury housing that is just a fraction of what you would pay in California or Florida. A literal fraction, a literal like 1/4 of what you would pay is what we pay to live like this and to build our businesses here and to have creativity. Oh my gosh, my creativity is off the chains in Africa. Oh my good. I am an awakened person after coming out of America. So awakened. Like there was so much creativity that was unleashed that had to be suppressed, because a lot of times in America, let me caveat Ohio, okay? A lot of times it's just like you can't be creative. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the food. I don't know if it's the atmosphere, but you're in a different mindset. Your mindset is very just dragged down, or at least that's how my mindset was. My mindset just wasn't as open as it is right now. My mindset was just like, well, you know, it's Ohio. We just, you know, it's the Midwest. You just do what you gotta do, live your life, and that's it, you know? Most people never leave the Midwest. If you're in the Midwest, leave the Midwest today. Not today, but you know, soon. Leave the Midwest, go see something different, okay? The Midwest is safe and boring, but I mean, it also, like, I feel like you can't creatively thrive there. At least I felt like I couldn't. You know, my business was flourishing, but it's more than just your business flourishing. It's, when I say creativity, it's not just about business. It's about, especially for me as a writer, what stories can I write? What ideas am I coming up with? What artistic avenues am I doing? I wasn't doing any of those things there. I was awakened when I came to Africa. I was more creative when I came to Africa. I was more me when I came to Africa. And I would just never leave that behind. I just never would. I also try to empathize with like the military people that are like, I spent 15 years in Africa, 15 in Asia, and I just had to go back to America. And I'm trying to empathize and see why. And I don't get it. I just don't. You know, unless, I think the only caveat would be unless if they didn't have a business and they had to go back for a job. I completely understand that. But I am an entrepreneur, a business owner, have been for about a decade now. Homeschooled even in Ohio. So it's like, what? To me, it doesn't make sense. To my husband, we have this conversation all the time, like trying to understand, what do people like about America in 2025? I don't get it. Ohio, Florida, Tennessee, or maybe, you know, you just really love like white America, which, you know, that's fine if you love that. That's no shade. I love Mauritius and Mauritians, you know. I love Tanzanian people. I love Kenyans. I love South Africans, you know. Those are the people I like to be around. But, you know, no shade. I'm just sharing my view and sharing how I'm trying to empathize and understand. But the understanding's not coming, y'all. It's not. I really don't get it. And people are always like, well, you know, is your water out? My water's never been out. Except when my son jumped on the pipe, and so our Mauritian friend had to come over and fix it. Our son jumped on one of the water pipes. But yeah, I think people just, like I said, they choose these propaganda machine sentences that are popular, that go viral, obviously. Obviously, the algorithm absolutely loves any American, especially if they're black, complaining about being in Africa, complaining about this and that, where it's like, you probably could have chose a better neighborhood. That's just from my experience. I mean, every time we move, we choose great neighborhoods. That's like just a discernment thing. You gotta know where you want to live, you know. I mean, there is a certain neighborhood out here. They were without power for a little bit, like an hour. But I don't live in that neighborhood. Take it or leave it. I don't live in that neighborhood. Even when I lived in Tanzania, I don't live in neighborhoods where, one, is dangerous, two, the water's not. I just don't do stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. Why would I do that? It's just like, why would I go back to America? Why would I live somewhere that's not safe with clean water? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I've never done that. Never. Not once. I've never lived somewhere where my water was out for a whole day. Never. Never in my life. In all of my journeying throughout Africa, I've never done it, because I only live in places that are high quality, clean, secure. Like, why? You got to make it, at the end of the day, you got to make it make sense. Wherever you are in the world, it needs to make sense as well. I think a lot of times people run into issues moving places that don't make sense. And that doesn't mean entire countries. That can be cities, right? That can be specific cities. Man, even in America, there are certain cities that you just would not live in. Or let me put it like this, I wouldn't live in. I know this channel is big. I know we get people from all over. When I was in Ohio, I've never lived in the hood. I've never lived in the ghetto. Never. And I never would, and I never will. Never, 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 never. Never. No, 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 no. And you can call it bougie. You can call it whatever you want. But at the end of the day, that's not how I'm about to live. That's not how my children are about to live. One of my children, they're hunting our new cat, so it's unfortunate for the cat. But anyway, I think I'm gonna go make some coffee, and I'm really thinking about that walk because it's so quiet out here. But I'm not about to take you on the walk. I'm not about to be filming for that long. I'm sorry, I don't do all that. I'm not that person. But it's so beautiful out here. So shalom, shalom. That's it for this video. Let me know down below. I'm really trying to understand why people like America. I just don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand.